Live. I'm Andy Serwer, and I'm here with Michael SHVO, founder and CEO of his eponymous real estate development firm in New York City. Michael, so nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Good morning.
So you have a number of really interesting projects we want to talk to you about. First of all, let's start with the Transamerica building in San Francisco, which you own, one of the most iconic buildings. Well, certainly the most iconic building in San Francisco, one of the most iconic buildings in America and the world. You own it and you're renovating it right now. Tell us about what you're doing.
So, we bought the building in 2020 in the midst of COVID, which was, that alone was an adventure, just getting that done through, very uncertain times. But when you have an opportunity to buy the Transamerica Pyramid, it doesn't matter if it's COVID or anything else. It's something that you can't miss that type of opportunity. But the first thing when I bought the building, the question was, how do you take an icon and make it more iconic? And through a partnership with, we brought Norman Foster, one of the greatest architects in the world, really to work with us on what I think is the next 50 years of this building. The building is turning 50 this December. It was built by the Transamerica Corporation as our headquarters. And today it's truly an office building. It's a multi-tenant office building. It needs, and it's going to go through massive renovation at the tune of $250 million, just the building and the park, with making it as historic and beautiful as it is, but going through a process where it will function like a building that was built in 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, the question, and you're doing so many things, but the big question, Michael, is you're sort of doing this right in the face of everyone supposedly working from home or at least doing hybrid. What kind of demand do you anticipate for a building even as iconic as this one?
As landlords, and we specialize in only owning and operating super prime real estate and elevating those experiences. Post-COVID, making sure that these offerings at commercial buildings are as good, if not better, than the experience that you have at home is really what drives people back, because some people would prefer to work out of their kitchen or their living room. But at the end of the day, if you provide tenants an experience at their office environment that's better than what they have at home, you're giving employers another tool to bring people back into the office. When you have, your 48 floor restaurant and bar that's exclusive for tenants, or your gyms and spas, and truly something you're not going to get when you're working out of your kitchen, employees and employers are motivated to come back to the office. We have rented over 150,000 square foot, all triple digits, $100 a foot and higher. We've broken some of the records in the state as far as rent numbers, because the uniqueness of this building is something that you can't replicate. That's why we bought it, and that's why we're going through this massive renovation to make sure it doesn't only look beautiful, but it operates as good as it looks.
Right. Another project you're working on right now in a different vein is another, again, iconic building, is the Raleigh Hotel in South Beach in Miami, with that Esther Williams swimming pool that's so famous. It's been closed for a number of years. I think it was hurt by Hurricane Irma. Tell us about that project. And aren't there so many hotels on South Beach? And is there really room for another one to come back online?
So the Miami market is probably the strongest real estate market in this country. We've seen through COVID the massive migration into the Florida market, particularly Miami. The wealth in Miami is at record heights today. But what we're building there is, beside restoring the Raleigh Hotel, we actually purchased the two neighboring hotels. So I own 3 acres on the beach. Peter Marino has designed a tower for us, a residential tower on the ocean. And it's the only new residential tower in the historic district of Miami Beach that has been approved over the last 30 years. There is demand for residential apartments in Miami like I've never seen, at numbers that are equal, if not trump, the New York market. So it's truly interesting, because now Miami, which used to be somewhat of a, I don't want to say a provincial city, but a vacation city, has now become one of the most important cities in the United States. It was an interesting article that actually called Miami the most important city in the United States. I'm not sure I would go that far to say that, but when you look at buyers or visitors to Miami today, they are they're spending money. The hotel rates are at record rates. We've never seen so much demand. So I feel very good about that market. We're actually also in the process of building multiple Class A office buildings in Miami Beach because there's so much demand for people that are also moving to Miami to work, play, eat, sleep, all at the beach.
Right. And final question, Michael, and maybe some of those people who are moving to Miami are coming from New York. You're based in New York. I'm in New York. We all know people are living in New York. Residential seems to be doing pretty well. But what about offices? Are people going to be coming back to work in New York? And how's that market right now?
So people are going to come back to work. I don't believe that long-term working from home is sustainable. It's a sustainable platform, a sustainable program, particularly if you need to manage as an employer, if you need to manage teams, if you need to collaborate. Remember that pre-COVID, everybody wanted to be Yahoo, Google, Microsoft, right? Let's all sit together in one big space and collaborate. There is no way that 2 years later, everybody thinks that they can collaborate through Zoom, through their living room or kitchen or little tiny box that they're working out of. People need to be together to create. And I do believe that there's a return to the office. We're seeing, we own multiple buildings in New York, multiple buildings in Chicago, San Francisco. We're seeing the return to the office. But we're seeing a much stronger return to the office when the office offering is a truly elevated offering. When it's not just the typical office. I think the higher end of the office is getting tremendous amount of traction right now, both on the rental rates and people coming back to work, and which is obviously they go hand in hand.
Interesting stuff and some great projects. Best of luck to you on those. Michael SHVO, thank you so much for joining us.